Welcome to the NCIXPC Boxing Week Edition episode. This deal might be light enough for me to lift it, but it is definitely a heavyweight. Let's start with the Boxing Week system concept, okay? It's available for only 1 week, starting on December 24th. For our American friends and international friends who don't know what Boxing Day and Boxing Week are, it's basically like Black Friday, but in Canada. Okay, so it's available for 1 week starting on the 24th or while supplies last. The idea is to take hardware that just plain doesn't exist in this price point and shoehorn it into this price point. So the actual sort of normal pricing for the stuff in here would be around $1,220. And this is instead available for $999.99. And this particular machine targets the gaming sweet spot with excellent upgradability, with top-tier brands, and then just making that happen with, magic Boxing Day sprinkles that we got from Santa. So let's start on the outside of the system where, honestly, you can't tell how awesome the insides are. This is the Corsair 200R. This is actually the same case that was used in the Boxing Week system last year, but honestly, not much has changed in terms of, having a nice clean look and having great ventilation, on the sides and on the top being desirable things. On the front of the case, we've got 3 5¼ bays, none of which are occupied. We have 2 USB 3.0 ports, headphone microphone jacks, as well as reset and power buttons. On the front, we have ventilation on kind of the sides of the front here and here. And then along the lines of ventilation, we have 2 120 or 140 millimeter fan mounts in the top, which are offset in case you wanted to add a dual 120 liquid cooler. It's a very good little thing that Corsair did there. And then on the side, on the left side, we've got either 2 120 or 2 140 millimeter fan mounts that you can position above your graphics card or your CPU. Now, one thing to note here, guys, is that these won't be there on the windowed version, which is also available for a very reasonable upgrade price. That's the thing, is just because NCIX is pre-bundling a Boxing Week system doesn't mean you lose the customizability that comes with an NCIX PC. There are actually a lot of changes you can make to this one. On the back, we find the I/O that's provided by the Z87K motherboard. So we have 2 dedicated PS2 ports, 4 USB 2.0 ports, HDMI, DVI, and VGA, 2 USB 3.0 ports, Gigabit Ethernet, and 5.1 audio out. And then finally, we have 2 more DVI ports, an HDMI port, and a display port, all provided by the GTX 760 graphics card inside. All right, so I've been teasing some of the specs, but let's go ahead and open this baby up. Got them thumb screws so you can easily upgrade the system yourself, should you so desire. All right, it starts with an Intel Core i5-4670K. This is versus a 3570K that was in this system last year. There's 8 gigs of Corsair Vengeance Blue memory because 8 gigs is still the gamer sweet spot. We're a little ways away from 16 gigs being a huge deal. It also has better cooling than last year. So it's got an H60 2.0 versus the H40 that was last year. It's about as good as it gets for a slim, single fan, single 120 millimeter liquid cooler. It's running in push-pull, which is definitely better than having just a single fan in pull, but not quite as good as something like an H80i or something along those lines. For the motherboard, we get another upgrade here. We've got a Z87K versus the Z77LK last year, although it should be noted that the SLI-compatible Z87A is also available as a discounted upgrade. The graphics card is where things start to get really special. This is where, the whole, get this now for $9.99, quantities won't last long, etc., etc. I mean, I feel like I'm on QVC, but it really is a good deal. You're getting an ASUS GTX 760 DirectCU2 OC. This is versus the 660 DirectCU2 that you were getting last year. This is a major upgrade. So this, combined with the 4670K, makes this a very, very potent gaming rig. For storage, there is a 120 gig Corsair LS series SSD. This is upgraded over the Force 3 last year. And the case we've already covered. It should be noted, guys, that the power supply is not going to be a CX series. This was a last-minute negotiation, so our Our system to actually show to you guys today has a CX in it, but it's actually going to be a Gamer Series 500 watt. There are SLI ready power supplies also available as discounted upgrades. So, okay, you got all this stuff in here, but I've talked a lot about discounted upgrades. There are more than what I've talked about so far. So once you add it to cart, there's going to be some other deals available. So there's no hard drive and there's no OS on it by default. But don't worry, as soon as you add it to cart, you're going to be able to configure that yourself, because what was discovered last year during Black Friday and Boxing Week and this year during Black Friday is that people want to be able to pick storage configurations themselves for the most part. So rather than just shoehorning something like a one-size-fits-all storage config, it's being treated more like a bare bones. So there will be a selection of popular hard drives and operating systems as well as some of those other upgrades that I talked about in the cart. And then as always, adding the system to the cart will give you the usual options for discounted peripherals and whatnot to go along with it as well, because it's all about the extra value add stuff. Speaking of extra value add stuff, because it comes with the GTX 760, it comes with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Splinter Cell Blacklist, and it also comes, because it's an ASUS, you know, balls to the walls plus Corsair machine, it comes with an ASUS Compromise is for Losers t-shirt. So thank you for checking out this edition of NCIXPC. And if this system is anywhere near as successful as the one last year was, then I really don't think these are going to last long, so you'd better make sure that you go ahead and place your order. Okay, sorry, I won't do that. Thank you for watching this episode of NCIX Tech Tips. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this from NCIX.com.